Sorry, it's John Nemo. If you're only listening to the audio, you're missing a great visual portrait. If you're watching the video right now, you realize I am dressed in character as an internet scammer. So I've got for those just listening to this on the podcast, I'll link to the video as well in the show notes, but I've got my black hood on, I've got my sunglasses, I'm looking very dodgy, very sketchy, very questionable. And it's because I want to get into character and read to you a great one-on-one LinkedIn message I just received that really illustrates a key concept, a key strategy that you have to understand around sales and marketing and lead generation if you want to be successful. So first, while I'm in character here in scammer mode, let me dive into the one-on-one message I just got. So again, this is a cold inbound one-on-one DM on LinkedIn. Hey, John, took a look at your LinkedIn. Gotta say, you should really write a book sharing your journey and knowledge. My guarantee, this is what the person says, hit #1 on Amazon and Wall Street Journal in 6 months or dollars. I'll handle everything, writing, cover, publishing, promotion. Are you open to chat? Just like, okay, so there's so many things wrong with this one-on-one message, but let's start with the obvious, which is literally in my LinkedIn header, and I'm doing a flyby here. I've written 7 books. I've got all these different books and I have them in my LinkedIn header. Here, they're flying through on the video right now. All these different LinkedIn books. I've got them all. I've already written 7 books. So obviously they're just doing spamming, cold targeting. They're not looking at accounts. And here, I'll take off my sunglasses so I look a little bit less sketchy and scammy, because now I'm going to get into the key part of this. And the key strategy I want to kind of peel the onion back on, the layers of the onion back with this, is understanding the difference between claiming authority online and actually demonstrating authority, and how that's really the key if you want to be successful with, lead generation and marketing online. Is you've got to be able to demonstrate your expertise and demonstrate your authority instead of just claiming it. So let me explain this a little bit, and I'll use this one-on-one message as an example. So basically, the way that it works, I've been self-publishing books since the early 2000s. So 20 plus years. I started on a platform called Lulu. I'm going to give you my self-publishing credentials here. Lulu.com, went to createspace.com, and then Amazon bought CreateSpace, and now it's KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. Like, I know the game, right? I know how to publish books on Amazon. I know how to write them, design them, cover them, all that stuff. So I know that the reality is, yes, you can guarantee a #1 Amazon best-selling book. But do you know what it means? Not that you're #1 on all of Amazon with like Stephen King and everybody else. You can be #1 in these little sub-niche categories. So for example, when you list your book on LinkedIn, you can be like, I want to put it in this subcategory of business that is, underwater basket weaving for entrepreneurial minded stay-at-home dads. Like, it can be that, like, just ridiculously little niche categories. Well, the reality is, if you do your research and you find these categories that don't have books being sold, if you sell 3, 4, 5, 6 books in a day, you'll hit #1. You'll hit #1. And even for me, with my book, even in like small business and some of these other categories, I'm consistently in the top 10 for a lot of these categories, and I'm only selling 8 to 10 books a day. But that's all it takes, because again, Amazon has so many categories and they want to have so many lists and things displayed. It's not hard to hit #1 in a certain niche category. Now, again, not all of LinkedIn or not all of Amazon, but in one of the niche categories, you can hit #1. So it's pretty easy to guarantee that in theory. Now, the Wall Street Journal is another one. And if you've researched books in the publishing industry, that also, you can scam your way onto that list. All you have to do is just buy a bunch of your books and report all the sales in a little window of time when your book is released, right? So if you want to be a #1 or a Wall Street Journal new bestseller or hit these lists, it's all sales data. So if you just commit to spending, let's say, $25,000 and buying 10,000 units of your book and reporting all the sales on day 1 or however they do it, yeah, you're going to hit the Wall Street Journal list or the USA Today list. Like, that's how these random sporadic books hit that list. And then people claim, look at me, my book. Again, the authority is supposed to convey, this book is so good and so powerful and so amazing. Thousands of people bought it and it's on this bestseller list. The reality is, no, you just paid money. I mean, this is not a new tactic, right? So many magazines and publications will, give people awards. You pay for those, right? You pay to be on lists. You pay to get awards. And so it really comes back to understanding the sleight of hand that goes into marketing as far as like authority things, and really realizing that a lot of that is just kind of bought and paid for. And I think people are way too smart online to kind of not read between the lines. I'll give you one more of my favorite scams. You see these people on LinkedIn where their profile picture will have their photo and then they'll say as featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, ABC, and you're like, whoa, like you look at it and go, you've been featured on all the major television networks in the United States. You must be a big deal. You know, you're on the Today Show, NBC Nightly News, like ABC 2020. Like, whoa, like you've got all these big networks. Now, the whole scam behind that is you literally pay someone, because of course there's somebody scamming. I should put my sunglasses back on for the scammer part. But basically, you go in and the scam is you go to your local NBC affiliate website. So I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. KARE 11, KARE 11, is our local NBC affiliate. That's our local news channel affiliated with NBC, the global network. If I go to the KARE 11 website here in Minneapolis, I can pay money to have sponsored content. I can pay to publish a press release. I can pay to run an ad. I can pay to put some sort of content with my name and my business name onto their website, because obviously they need revenue and they're going to take paid content, promotional content. Just like you can pay to publish, you know, something back in the old days in a magazine or a newspaper, like a paid piece of content. So there's nothing new, right? And websites do it too, paid content, whatever. But what the leap that people make is, now that I've paid money to publish my press release on the local NBC affiliate in my town, I'm going to claim I was featured on NBC. I'm going to use the NBC logo. It's like, you weren't on camera. You weren't even on the local news. You paid money to put a press release on the local website. So it's just a joke. And I think people can see through it. And what's really funny is that, more importantly, even if you've legitimately these kind of accolades, in my experience, at least, they don't really move the needle. So I'll give you a perfect example. I grew up in journalism. So I literally got a degree in print journalism from college. It doesn't exist anymore because print doesn't exist, but I got a degree in print journalism for newspapers. Now, if you don't know what newspapers are, watch a movie from the 1980s or Google them, but they used to throw them on your front step in the morning. You used to open it and read it, right? So, of course, I'm dating myself. But anyway, I worked for the Arizona Republic. I worked for the Associated Press. I was a newspaper junkie. I still am. And so the pinnacle of all of that would be, wow, someday if I could be featured in the New York Times, that's like the end all be all. And so a couple of years ago, I actually did get featured in the New York Times. So they were doing a story on LinkedIn and came across some content I had published and interviewed me. And I was featured. I'm looking over at my wall because I have it hanging on my wall, framed, an article in the Sunday New York Times business section about LinkedIn, quoting yours truly. Like, I'm quoted in there, for several paragraphs. Amazing, right? What a great thing. So I've got that all over my website, my LinkedIn profile, as featured in the New York Times. Like, big deal to me, right? Pull back the curtain. Do you know how many leads I've gotten from that, from being in the New York Times on a Sunday in the business section? Okay, wait for it. Ready? One. One stinking lead. And they said, I do in the New York Times, impressive. And it went nowhere, and they didn't have money, and they weren't qualified. So they weren't even didn't even turn into business. So all those accolades and legitimate honors of being featured in the New York Times, and I got literally 0 clients from it, 0 leads, or 1 lead. So again, I don't think that's what moves the needle. When I get on to calls with people that want to hire us, Nemo Media Group, to do done for you LinkedIn lead generation, or if people want my coaching or whatever it is, they want to buy my online courses, no one is like, go through your accolades, go through your authority markers, right? Because I have them all and I worked really hard to build them all, but that's not what people want to know. What they want to know 99.999% of the time is, do you actually know what you're doing? Because you're claiming all this authority, but have I seen anything from you, John, in terms of your content that actually demonstrates expertise, demonstrates authority, shows me you know what you're doing? Because people are not going to sign up with you just because you can claim that you're famous for being featured somewhere. They're going to have to see that you actually can help them get what they want. So if you're a coach or a consultant, you can claim you've worked with all these big companies, but at the end of the day, if you're not putting out any sort of free content like an ebook or a blog or a podcast or a video training that actually shows you coaching and training and sharing ideas and strategies, it's going to be very hard for someone to feel like you can help them. And that's why I publish all these different ebooks, and I'm going to hold them up here. mean, I've got, 7 full-size big published books behind me on the wall. You can sort of see some of them. And then I've got multiple ebooks. And what I do in all of that is I create content that demonstrates authority, that demonstrates expertise, that actually gives you practical tips to generate leads on LinkedIn. I give away everything. I give away all my best tips, templates, formulas, strategies. And because I know that's what's going to separate me from every other LinkedIn trainer or LinkedIn agency who claims they can get you 1 million leads in 2 seconds, right? The reality is, if you go through my content, if you go through my tips, you see me practicing what I preach. You see me demonstrating authority. You see me showing you, oh yeah, that works. That makes sense. Okay, I get it. This guy really knows what he's doing. And then when we get into a sales conversation, it's much easier because you know, like, and trust me. I've already shown you I know what I'm doing. I've given you examples of how it works. A lot of times people even be like, hey, I already used some of your tips and had success. I just want to go to the next level, or I don't have time to do it all. Just do it for me. And that's the beautiful part about this is there's no limits for you and me. Like, don't sideline yourself because you don't have a best-selling book or you weren't featured in the New York Times or anything. A, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And B, most of it's fake. So get busy and actually demonstrate your expertise. That's the beautiful thing about the world we live in right now is the playing field is 100% level. People are going on YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere else, Google, you name it, and looking for tips, looking for ideas. And so if you put out powerful content that not only demonstrates expertise and gets people quick wins and solves problems, but also puts your personality in, those are the 2 magic ingredients where then you build this audience, you build this platform. People want more. They come to you. They want to give you money because they see these 2 key things, which is 1, you really know your stuff. And 2, I feel like I know you already. I like you. I want to work with you. So that's why, and I'll link book, Content Marketing Made Easy, free copy, right? Practicing what I preach. I give away my entire content marketing called Content Marketing Made Easy, all the formulas, all the headline templates, everything. And basically, I talk about the magic formula in there for great content is very simple. The magic formula to create great content is personal story plus business lesson equals content. And the reason that is such an effective formula is that if you tell a personal story, it makes you relatable, empathetic, approachable, and then obviously you have a business lesson attached to it that demonstrates value and expertise, and therefore you have this great content. And people resonate with it because, again, no one's going to hire you unless they feel like they know you and like you. And the only way to get that through is through content. So video, podcast, written, and sharing your personality, sharing authentic photos, telling tales from the trenches, being, somebody who's being authentic and real and not just claiming everything's easy. Those are great posts where you can share stories. Like I have posts like my $75,000 mistake. I have another one where I say why I just blew my biggest sales call ever and what you can learn. And I'll unpack the mistakes I make and go, here's what I did wrong. Here's what I learned. Here's how I'm going to pivot. Here's how you can avoid the same pain. Right? So people love that stuff because they feel like, oh, you're approachable. You're real. Because we all know this. Real life is not mistake free. Real life is, what Winston Churchill said, it's going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. That's the real world. And so when you understand that, you put yourself out there and people are like, oh, you're a real person, or share your passion, share your hobbies. I always insert my sense of humor and my goofiness into my content. So when people talk to me, they're like, yeah, I knew it was going to be fun. You're a goofball. Like this is going to be an entertaining engagement with you, not just a boring LinkedIn trainer who's very stiff and formal. You've got to address that people part with your content. So just be yourself, put your personality in. And then the other big piece is demonstrating expertise, demonstrating authority. If you can do that in your content and show people you actually know what you're doing and that you're actually good at what you're doing, they will want to work with you. And I get over the whole idea of, oh no, if I give it away for free, no one will hire me. Baloney. Everything's free online anyway. I can, literally go on Google right now and get the blueprints of how to build a house. I can go on ChatGPT and tell it to write me a master plan of how to build a house, what tools I need, zoning permits, everything. All that information is there. I can find out the best tips on how to dig a foundation for my house. I can find the best concrete mix. I can do it all. Or I can, look at it and go, I don't want to do the work. I'm just going to hire someone to do it for me. Who's the best builder I know? Well, I'm going to ask around and people are going to say, oh, this guy, he's always sharing tips on foundations. He's always sharing tips on concrete mixes. I love the stories he tells and he seems like a really good guy. Okay, well, I want to talk to him. It's the same across all industries. There's nothing secret. That's the big thing that I've learned too, paying for courses and masterminds and gurus and everything else. I remember I paid a guy $1,000 for 1 hour of coaching. This is years ago when I was in debt and had no money, but this guy had sold millions of dollars in online courses. And I wanted to know, what's the big secret? How have you sold millions of dollars in online courses? And he's like, well, an hour of my time is $1,000. And I thought, okay, I'm going to pay for it. And hopefully I get some, value out of it. It's more money than I can afford, but I want to know the secret. I want to know the secret. I've got to figure it out. I'll never forget. I got on the call with the guy and he goes, there is no secret. It's like, what? Where's your magic silver bullet? Come on. And he's like, no, he goes, marketing's marketing, sales is sales. Like it's really simple. Do this, this, and this. There is no secret formula. And then what was really interesting was he pivoted into asking me about my situation. And he really was like, well, what are your goals and this and that? And he really turned on a light bulb for me of, well, why are you trying to sell all these courses on LinkedIn when everyone's saying they want to give you money to do it for them? He's like, you can get your revenue goals much quicker if you do a done for you service and people pay you a higher ticket fee because you're literally doing all the work for them instead of trying to shoehorn these prospects and don't want to implement. It's like, if I'm you, I'm selling done for you, get rid of the courses. And I was like, oh, and sure enough, I launched Done For You, hit my revenue goals much more quickly, got great clients, fewer clients. It's much easier to get one Done For You client than selling, thousands of $47 courses, right? So that call was worth it for that purpose. But it just is another illustration that there are no secrets left. They're all online. So don't worry about sharing your secret sauce, your strategy. What I've seen happen with that when I share my absolute best stuff for free is it does one important thing. It builds immense trust and it gains a ton of attention because people are like, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to open every email. I'm going to watch every video because you always deliver insane value. I can't believe you're giving this away. I can't believe this. So then what happens is those people watch it, consume it, become advocates, and they refer you business because they will use your tips and get results and get success. And then they'll become testimonials for you and or like pseudo salespeople recommending their friends, get your book, watch your course, because you're always going to have people that don't want to do the time, don't want to do the work. They don't want to do it themselves. I'm that way with taxes. Could I learn everything I need to do to write a great tax plan and fill out all the right tax forms and save the most money? Of course I could. I have Google, I have ChatGPT. I just want to find someone to do it for me because I don't want to take the time and I don't want to learn. I don't want all the expertise. But the way I'm going to pick someone is if someone communicates to me these tips and it fits me, right? So what I'm looking for as a prospect is tax tips for small business owners, tax tips for solopreneurs, tax tips for S corporations. And I'm going to look at that and go, oh, I didn't know that. I could hire my kids and that's a tax write-off. Oh, I didn't know that. I could rent part of my house as an office space. I didn't know that. Those are great tips. And again, the other key with your content is simplicity is supreme. Think about how much content we consume and how we're just scrolling nonstop. This is a big challenge with a lot of clients I work with is they want to just kind of vomit out all this jargon and all these, word salads and everything. And I'm like, you need to say in one sentence of what this is. Like, so that my, 10-year-old could understand it, because that's the attention level and the, understanding level online is I got to know within like 2 seconds what this is and if I should care. And that's why simplicity is supreme when you're communicating your content and your tips is helping people get it. Like if they don't get it, they're not going to say to you like, I don't get it, because then I'll have to admit I feel dumb. They'll just move on. They'll ignore you. So if people aren't engaging with your content, aren't writing you back, aren't commenting, and your content is really complex and heavy and thick, people aren't going to say to you, whoa, I feel dumb because I don't understand. Can you simplify it, dumb it down? They won't ever say that. They'll just leave. So make it simple. Make it simple. So they're like, man, and I get this all the time. People are like, you made it accessible and simple and practical, and I feel like I can do this. And again, it's just understanding how to take these complex topics with LinkedIn and lead generation and blah, 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 and just make it simple and make analogies. So there you go. I could keep going. I'm going to go back into scammer mode, wear my sunglasses, put on my hoodie. I'm going to go back to reading my direct messages, guaranteeing 10,000. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching the video, for listening to the podcast. I hope you're finding this helpful. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Nemo Radio.